The title of today's webinar is the Business Analysis Mindset, and Bola Adesope is our facilitator this evening. A little bit about Bola. So Bola is an award-winning, multi-award winning agile and business transformation consultant, speaker, trainer, and coach. And he's fondly called Coach B. He combines on one hand and in fact, Bola is multi-skilled, multi-talented. If I begin to read his profile here, we're not going to get started. So he has experience in the area of project, program, portfolio management, business strategy, business analysis, change management, which is a rare mix of competencies that perfectly blends and needed for driving corporate growth. He has demonstrated track record of driving growth and managing successful transformation projects. In the last 7 years, he spent setting up and running leading agile and business transformation initiative, solving complex business problems through strategy formulation, implementation, and tracking and delivering successful transformation projects. He is a well sought after facilitator, I can attest to that, and trainer delivering impactful and engaging training sessions. He has lots of certifications from the CBAP to the Prince 2, Agile, Lean Six Sigma, ITIL, so many of them. Join me this evening to welcome Bola warmly. Bola, you're welcome.
Okay. So you should be able to see my screen, and then you should be able to see my slide. Okay. When I was listening to Oge read what I thought was my profile, I started thinking in my mind, is that really me? But then I remember when I wrote that it was strictly marketing. It was marketing, whatever it is that, you heard, it's not exactly it. My name is Bola. I want to talk very briefly about a concept that I decided to title the Business Analysis Mindset. About 2 years ago, I was contacted by someone from IIBA, and they wanted me to give a talk to a member-only webinar, if you will. And the lady asked me what I would like to talk about. And this was in 2020. At that time, it was all about transformation. It was all about agile. It was all about the role that business analysis plays in the grand scheme of agility, business agility, and transformation. And then I titled that presentation, Be Agile, the Business and the Analyst. And the reason why I titled that presentation, Be Agile, is I wanted to actually show that business analysis is at the center of transformation. And then last year, IIBA, again, last year, 2 years ago, IIBA again released a sort of a resource around another focus in business analysis called, the product ownership analysis. And there were talks around the direction that business analysis was going at that time. And when Oga reached out to say, hey, IIBA Halifax is starting, can you just come and chat with guys? I thought to myself, what would be the best presentation, if you will. I like to call it talk, presentation to give. And we started talking about, typical topics. I asked her, who are the audience, what have they heard before? Where are they in the life of in their life of career X, Y, and Z? And I decided to just, bring different thoughts and different ideas and different insights together. And that's why I have titled this the Business Analysis Mindset. I really don't know if I'm talking to the right audience. I really don't know if the people here really want to know about this, but one thing will help me to know. And what will help me to know is when I do a quick psychographic profiling of this audience. By the way, before I go into that, I want to give a big shout out to Marilyn, who is from Cameroon. We started chatting on LinkedIn 2 days ago, and she told me, hey, I want to attend, the event, will it be recorded? I'm like, you're in Cameroon, right? Like, I don't know if the timing is perfect for you. She's like, well, I'll try and all. And she's here, she came in like pretty early. Big shout out to you. Big shout out to the guys from Lebanon. Big shout out to the guys from Nigeria. Big shout out to the guys from the UK. All of us in Canada, it's shout out to you too, but it's great. But I respect guys from outside of North America. I said I would spend 15 minutes because I just want to chat. I wish I didn't have to present, so I don't have to share my screen because I just want us to have a chat. But before we go in, I want to do a quick psychographic profiling of this audience. So I'm going to be asking you to do some things. The first thing that I want you to do is please pick a pen, get a paper, and on that paper, please write from 1 to 9, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just write it. I want to get a sense of the people that we have here. This will help to alter the direction of my talk. Absolutely. So you're done. Great stuff. I want to believe everybody is done. Assumption. The next thing that I want you to do is to add all the numbers that you've written. I'm not testing your math skill here, but just add all the numbers that you've written, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that you've written, just add the numbers. All things being equal, when you are done, you will get 45. Absolutely. I was going to say, if you didn't get 45, don't even say anything, just keep it to yourself. Okay, great. Cool stuff. So we're good. Everybody got 45. Now, here is where the analysis comes in. There are 3 categories of people that should be in this audience or in this session. The first category of people are the people that added 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 to arrive at 45. If you're in the audience and that's how you arrive at your 45, just in the chat, just say I. If you were there, I'll tell you who you are. You are a process-driven, like Nosa, you are a process-driven, step-by-step Ademola kind of person. You like to go one step at a time, Abidags. That's who you are. You like to follow processes. Your brain works when you have step by step. You are very detailed. That's who you are. And that's really great. There's a second category of people in this audience that arrived at 45 by looking for tens. They only think in tens. So they're looking at the numbers. And in their mind, they're looking at a combination of numbers that will give them 10. That's how they think. That's how they reason. They're like the big picture kind of person. That's Osa. Osa thinks in tens. Osa tries to look at the end from the beginning. Osa may not necessarily be a step-by-step person. Also looks at, Jennifer looks at patterns, trends. And then there's a third category, absolutely. And it is a third category of people that can swing both ways. Those guys think in fives. So they got to 45 by looking at fives and what can give them 5. Like 1 + 4 gives me 5, 2 + 3 will give me 5, 6 + 9 will give me 15, 7 + 8 will give me 15. We don't really see a lot of people like that, but if you're in the audience, I want to know. These guys can switch based on, oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. These guys can switch based on situations, based on environment. When they don't have that pattern, then they follow the processes. These are the guys that will typically live by the word, when you are in Rome, you behave like the Romans. So we have all the kinds of people. Mayowa is a 10 kind of guy. That's Mayowa, 10 kind of guy. So we have all this set of people, and I think you're the perfect audience for the business analysis mindset. But how did we arrive at the business analysis mindset? In 2017, between 2017 and 2018, I conducted independent research. And again, shout out to Marilyn that shared a video about this research with me yesterday or 2 days ago. And even though I didn't really understand anything because it was all in French, but I'd like to start with this. And what I want to show you is sort of like the evolution of the practice of business analysis. And now we arrive at the business analysis mindset. So in 2017, 2018, I decided to do an independent research. I wanted to understand the skill sets, the skills needed for effective business analysis. So I titled it Top 5 Skills in Business Analysis, or what you may want to call the business analysis skill set. So I came up with like some questions, I identified over 150 people who have the title business analyst across, industries and continents. So I sent them the survey. And a lot of them responded, over 75% of them responded. And they said, well, based on my experience, based on the work that I've been doing, based on what I know, sort of like the day in the life of a business analyst, these are sort of like the skills that I think a business analyst should have. The first of the skills is communication. Last year, I think it was last year or maybe 2 years ago, I attended yet another webinar by IIBA, and someone asked the host a question. They said, what is the #1 skill that you think a business analyst should have? And the person responded with the word communication. And coincidentally, in 2018, that was the top skill that I got from my research. So that year, we can say, was the year of the skill set. Everybody was looking at the skills that they need to develop to be able to do business analysis well, or to be able to become better business analysts. And then in 2020, COVID hit, and the way of working changed. And then it became the tool sets, the Zooms of this world, the Miro and the Mural of this world became what business analysts needed to master to be able to do business analysis effectively. We started looking at, all of those wireframing tools, all of those analysis tools, all of those collaboration tools. It was the year of the tool set. But I think right now, much more than ever, business analysis is now more of a mindset. And that's really why I've decided to call this the business analysis mindset. Forget about the skills. Yeah, I said that. Forget about the tools. I said that. Focus more on the mindset. This is not just me saying this. Early this year, I was contacted by, someone from IIBA, and they said, hey, Bola, we're putting together a list of top business analysts to watch in 2022. And then sort of like based on the work that you've been doing, X, Y, and Z, and your contribution to the community, we'd like you to share your thoughts. And then it did the same for about 8 other people across several, industries, continents, X, Y, and Z. And then in the video that I sent to IIBA, I said that the business analysis game is changing. And as a result, we also need to change the way we approach business analysis. And one of the recommendations or one of the insights that I shared was we need to change from seeing business analysis as a skill set, a set of skills that you need to learn, or a tool set, a set of tools that you need to learn. We should see it more as a mindset. And then when IIBA published this, I took the time to listen to the 8 other people on what they have to say about the trend in the business analysis world or space. More than 70% of them said that we should focus more on the mindset. More than 70 from different places. We have like instructors, we have like, consultants, we have like, product guys, and everybody was focusing on the mindset as the core of business analysis. Matter of fact, if you remember this, I literally got this from the 2nd edition of the Weber Guide. This is how they define business analysis: a set of tasks and techniques. Because that was what it was then. Before 2016, when they released the 3rd edition, it was all about techniques, skills, tasks, skill set. The set of tasks and techniques that we use to work as a liaison between stakeholders X, Y, and Z. And then in 2016, they did like a whatever to the Weber Guide. And they said, now, forget about what we said. This is actually business analysis. The practice of making change happen. It's the act and the art of enabling change in an environment. But you can't really drive change. You can't really enable change if you don't understand the mindset. In fact, there's this beautiful quote that I got online. It says, for you to drive change, you have to start with the mindset. Once your mindset changes, every other thing will change. And for you to enable change in an enterprise, you have to start with a change in mindset. Our overall objective as business analysts is to drive change and success in organizations. And you've probably seen this before. Success is not really so much about strategy. It's not so much about skill sets or tool set. It's largely mindset. 80% of success start with the right mindset. You know, I give you a very interesting example. If you know Gallup organization, they're like big, you know, research company, you know, worldwide. And they did this very interesting exercise over a course of 4 years, and they partnered with, you know, HBR to do this. So they started by contacting different people from different walks of life, like students preparing for exam, athletes preparing for competition, politicians preparing for elections, and general, you know, other people preparing for one thing or the other. And they asked them 2 questions. The second question is, based on what you know, based on who you are, do you think that you're going to win? Do you think that you're going to pass? Do you think that you're going to succeed? And some people said, well, you know, we have very good strategy. The competition is tough. You know, we don't have some things. So let's hope maybe we can win, but we're not really sure. And some people said, clear out. Yes, we're going to win this. Yes, we're going to pass. Yes, we're going to succeed. And then they waited for about a year, 2 years, 3 years after the competition, after the election, after the exam and all. And they went back to the same set of people and they checked the results. And this is what they got. Over 70% of the people that said that they knew that they were going to win actually won. Over 70% of them. And then they said to them, that time, there were few things that were not really clear, but you said you were going to win and now you won. What actually happened? And a lot of them said, well, you know, I just had this mindset. I just had this belief that I was going to win, that I was going to pass. And that's actually what drove the result that we achieve now. It's the mindset. You know, I do a lot of work in transformation, particularly agile transformation. And we've seen a lot of investment in transformation fail, while, you know, some actually succeed. So when we support in organizations in transformation, there are several other things that we do. You know, we help them with their practices, you know what I mean? Like you're doing Scrum or Kanban, we help them to set up those ceremonies, X, Y, and Z. We help them to select, you know, the tool set that they need, whether it's Jira, Confluence, you know, Azure DevOps, all of those things. We help them, you know, to put in place some principles, some guiding principle that will guide the work that they do. You know, we help them to create values, X, Y, and Z. But the area that we actually focus more on is the change in mindset, because that's what actually enables agility. That's what helps you to be agile. That's what has the most impact. You know, the Jira and the Confluence of this world, you know, the Scrum and all of those things, they're really good, yeah. But if you don't start with the mindset, you get very little impact. It's all about the mindset. As you're driving change, make sure that you have the right mindset to enable change. So in the next few slides, I'm going to be asking you some questions. I'd like you to engage as much as possible. I invite you to respond, you know, in the chat. And don't try to write on my screen. So let's start with this. If you use a Mac, Apple product, whether it's Mac MacBook Pro or Air or something like that. Just do just a yes in the chat. Just yes if you use a Mac. Again, no, I'm not trying to discriminate. I just want to focus a little on Mac people. So if you use Mac, MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, just type yes in the chat. Let's see. Okay, good. Michael, absolutely. Nice, nice, nice. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, only Michael. Okay, well, I use Mac as well, so I probably just type yes as well. So Michael isn't gonna feel lonely. Michael, and for those who use Mac, what is your default browser? You have Safari, you have Firefox, you have, what's that one called? Google Chrome, you have Safari, absolutely, Safari. You have Opera and all of it, Safari, so that's the one that you use because that is the default. Absolutely. I use Safari as well. But here's the deal. Underneath the business analysis mindset is curiosity. Underneath the business analysis mindset is not going all the time with the status quo. Underneath business analysis mindset is actually looking for change or an alternative. But I'll come back to this. Let's also look at another example. How do you respond to failure? I'm not going to ask you to type. Naturally, we don't like to fail. We don't want to discuss failure. We don't entertain failure. We don't welcome failure. We don't embrace failure. Naturally, we feel that if or when we fail, it means that we are not actually doing the right thing. Whereas the business analysis mindset sees failure as something really good. You know, in Agile, we say failure is good on 3 conditions. The first condition is that you fail fast. You fail fast, really quickly. The second condition is you learn from that failure. And the third condition is you don't repeat the same failure. Matter of fact, this company, Spotify, the really great company, you know, very good, very innovative, very agile kind of organization. In their company, they have a wall called the failure wall or the fail wall, where they encourage people to try things that they've never done before. Matter of fact, monthly, they gather together to say, what have you failed in? It means that you're trying something new. When you do something new, what you're literally doing is you are changing. I mean, everybody knows this guy, right? Everybody knows this guy. Abraham Lincoln, everybody knows this guy. And I'll read to you very quickly something about this guy. You know, in 1832, I think, he lost his job. He failed at his job. And then he tried to contest for, you know, state legislature the same year, and then he failed again. And then in 1938, about 6 years later, you know, he was defeated for the post of speaker. He failed again. In 1843, he tried to get nomination for Congress again. He failed. In 1848, he lost that nomination or the renomination. In 1854, this guy was defeated, or he failed at, an election for US Senate. In 1856, 2 years after, he tried to get like the vice president nomination, he failed. And in just 2 years, or 3 to 4 years after that, he was elected as the president of the United States. This guy saw failure as an opportunity to move ahead. Failure is good. Failure is not bad. If you fail fast, if you learn from it, and if you make sure that you're not repeating the same failure. There is a belief underneath mindset. I mean, we all know what a mindset is. It's sort of like what directs our internal navigation system. It defines our outlook to life and outlook to things. So I want to ask you this very quick question, and if you will chat if you will send the answer in the chat, I will appreciate. There are a lot of them. There are a lot of geniuses, they're born geniuses. But can you name at least 2 people? Can you name at least 2 people that you believe or that you know that are born genius? At least 2 people. I invite you again to put that in the chat. Awesome, Jennifer. Yes, yes. Absolutely. Albert Einstein, yeah. Newton, absolutely. And Jennifer's children, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. But you know one thing though, Albert Einstein himself said that I am not that smart. It's not that I'm that smart. Michael Faraday. It's just that I stay with problems longer. What do I want to get from this? All these guys that you have mentioned were not born genius. Nobody was. Nobody is born a genius. They developed those things, actually. You are a genius. Jennifer is a genius. Nana is a genius. We all have that trait. We just need to develop them. So what I'm trying to say here is nobody is born genius. Genius are not born. They are made. And there's a way that we can make our brains to respond to difficult, complex situations. Our brain is like muscles that we need to develop. All of these guys, not born genius. In fact, there's actually nothing. There's nothing that you cannot do. There's nothing that is impossible. What you don't know is what you haven't learned. You know, before I used to think, oh my goodness, or when I interact with my friends and maybe some people that come to maybe my programs, and then maybe we do, like, for example, something like, oh my goodness, I used to look at this like, oh my goodness, this thing is going to be so difficult. Now it's so easy. Matter of fact, I used to challenge them to say, okay, so in, say, for example, business analysis or in project management, what is that thing that you think you cannot do or that you cannot really understand? And at the end, they say, well, now I understand it. A belief in the business analysis mindset is there is nothing that is impossible. Let's look at this very, very quickly, very quickly. So here's a statement. Bola failed to complete 2 of his tasks on time in the last 2 weeks. What response would you typically give to this? So there are 2 people, there are 2 kinds of responses. The first thing is to say, oh man, Bola is not responsible because come on, 2 tasks back to back. But then the second response would be, maybe there's some challenges, maybe there's some limitations, maybe there's some things that, Bola needs support with. Exactly. Why? Why is this? In fact, there is this thing called the prime directive. This is the belief from business analysis mindset. Regardless of what we discover, regardless of what we find out, regardless of what we see, regardless of what the report says, we understand and truly believe that everyone did the best job that they could, given what they knew at that time. So it may be a knowledge gap. The skills, it may be that they didn't have the competencies or the abilities. Not that they cannot, or the resources available, or the situation. We use this bigly when we're supporting, when we're coaching team in productivity, in agile, retrospective, X, Y, and Z. And the reason why is we understand that people are innately gifted. They just need to develop it. When it comes to productivity, look at these 2 teams. There's a team Alpha and there's team Delta. Week on week, sprint by sprint, team Alpha is doing 100% continuously. Who wouldn't like that? And then there's that team Delta. Oh, maybe 50, week 1, and then maybe, 60, week 2, maybe 65, week 3, maybe 70, week 4, week 5, maybe 73. They've just been dancing around. They've never really reached 100. Whereas Team Alpha consistently is doing 100. From the mindset of productivity, which team do you think is good? If you will put it Team Alpha, Team Delta, if you put it in the chat, I will appreciate it. Let's just have that conversation or discussion. Let's see. Team Alpha, Team Delta. Team Delta, okay, Team Delta, Team Delta. Team Delta, yeah, nice, 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 nice. Team Alpha, oh, nice, nice, nice. If you will, I would like to ask, why Team Alpha or why Team Delta? Anyone? Anyone, if you can chat. Okay, so I'll share with you. Absolutely, Jennifer. That is it. On one hand, and then on the other hand, I will explain. Continuous improvement. Continuous improvement. Growth is how we improve ourselves from where we used to be the previous time. if you could do 25 today, and tomorrow you're doing 27, to you, you are improving. If yesterday you did 100, today 100, tomorrow 100, while you are doing well, in the mind of growth, in the mind of productivity, in the mind of business analysis mindset, you were not really improving. Consistent competence is great. But it looks to me, without double clicking anything, it looks to me like Team Alpha is operating in their comfort zone. And there's really no growth there. In fact, Carol Dweck, a professor of Stanford, did an extensive research on mindset. She has a book called Mindset, the Psychology of Success. And she identified 2 kinds of mindset, the fixed and the growth. Team Alpha is probably saying to me, well, this is how much I can go. I can do more than 100. I can't consistently, I cannot. Well, Team Delta is saying, I may not be at 100 today, but I'm not where I used to be yesterday. Small, incremental growth. So when we look at the business analysis mindset, we're looking at driving change continuously. It's the practice. It's the practice of making change happen. That's what I want to do with this one. That's what I want to do with this one. But good conversation. It's the growth mindset for me. Absolutely. Good conversation, everyone. I like it, but that's just one thing. Let's also look at how we see challenges. I have this interesting analogy that I use when I talk about challenges and how different mindsets react to challenges. So you're in a place, you're in a city, and there's no lights. I mean, you probably don't understand what that means if you're in Canada. There's no lights, and then there are no basic amenities. So it's a problem in that city. And then there's an opportunity for you to leave that city and relocate to another city where you have light and all those basic amenities. One mindset, we see that challenge and we see an opportunity to create those things that are lacking within that city. The other mindset, okay, so I like what Inena is saying, as you reach peak performance level, they require more challenging tasks and growth is dynamic, okay? Yeah, so absolutely. One thing that you need to understand about human is there is really nowhere that you get to that you think or believe that you can grow more. At the peak of people's achievement, they still want more. And remember, we're just talking about, delivery. They're doing 100% consistently. They're comfortable there. Let's add more. I hope that, helps your understanding or clarifies, is showing continuous growth and develop the biggest room in the world. Absolutely, absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying. Team A needs to work on continuously improving. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So back to this, one mindset will say, oh, you know what, I'll just leave and go to, where there's everything X, Y, and Z. And the other mindset will say, hey, man, I don't think that I need to run away from this. There are a lot of challenges here. And because we have these challenges, I see an opportunity for me to introduce those things. The same way for our organization. You get into an organization, you get into a team, and they don't have like the processes or things are not really, structured. The next thing for you to do is not to want to leave, is to see how you can bring about change. That's the business analysis mindset. So to bring this home, I will, share two things. Absolutely, Team A is in their comfort zone, and we know that's not where growth exists. So what is the place business analysis mindset? I'm going to share two things: the values in business analysis mindset and the principles in business analysis mindset. The values I sort of thought about when you've adopted and you're operating the business analysis mindset. You are not so much concerned about the title that you bear. Matter of fact, there's a book that I will recommend that you read. It's from a guy called Robin Sharma, and it's titled The Leader Who Has No Title. People believe that you may not be able to lead if you don't have the leader title. For us here, we're saying that as business analysts, we're now focusing on the mindset. We see value that the work that we're doing is generating than the title that we have. And that's really why, in Scrum, we try to eradicate titles. We try to eliminate titles. We focus on business value. The second is we focus on problem over product. And I'll tell you why, or what I mean by that. A lot of people are talking about product right now, X, Y, and Z. Yeah, I'm going into product management. I want to become a product developer. I'm working on this product. But really and truly, product is only a means to solve problems. People get carried away with the product that they're building or that they're developing, that they forget about the problem that that product is trying to solve. We get attached to the product. And if you've seen the business model canvas before, and if you've seen the recommendation on how to fill, that canvas, you see that the first two things that you want to, well, maybe not business model canvas, maybe this is the lean canvas, actually, the modification to the business model canvas, the lean canvas. The recommendation was that you should start first with the problem that exists and the people that have that problem. And constantly checking to see if whatever it is that we're building is actually addressing the problem or if the problem has changed. The practice of enabling change by defining the needs. The problem, or maybe the opportunity. Constantly stay in touch with the problem because that's what we want to solve. And then the last one, focus on outcome over output. It's not, we've implemented Salesforce. Well, that's good. It's more on, we've reduced turnaround time by 15%. That's the outcome. That's the result that we get. Not, we're developing an e-commerce website. That's the output. Focus more on the outcome. And then the last part of the business analysis mindset, which is the principles, and I have to say this, I extracted and I adapted this from the book by Yulia Kosarenko. So she had this book that she wrote and it's titled Business Analysis, a Profession and a Mindset. And in the book, she had like a set of 12 principles that she felt, the business analysis mindset should grow. So I looked at that, I picked one or two things, I adapted it, and I'm presenting to you just 6 out of those. The first is, we focus on value. Every other thing will be added onto you. Focus on value and alignment. Focus on value. Every time, what is the value that we're delivering from this? And how will the value help to address these challenges? How will the value help the stakeholders? Which is similar to the first value over title. The second is solve the right problem. Not every problem needs to be solved. Solve the right problem at the right time. Talking about prioritization. Talking about small incremental delivery. The third is curiosity. Question everything. Everything except the alignment. Absolutely. It can also be the objective of the organization, the strategic vision that the organization is running, the irritants that the organization is trying to address. Exactly. Question everything, except if you are a cat. Curiosity will not kill you. There's this saying, curiosity kills the cat, but we're humans. So when we get more curious, we find out more things, and then it helps us to solve the right problem. And when we solve the right problem, we deliver the right value. Uncover gaps. I decided to, ask the question of the people that use Mac and if they use Safari. I use Safari as well, but I was just reading in Carol Dweck's book, and she had this exercise the people that use Mac and use Safari are not curious enough. And I thought about it, and it's kind of right. There's some limitations with Safari. Uncover gaps, not cover them. The fifth one is accept changes because they will happen. Embrace changes because they will happen, and be ready to adapt. And then the last one, which is where I close, is the business analysis mindset is given to learning, unlearning, and relearning. So final thoughts. This is where I draw the curtain. 3 things as it close, 3 things. The business analysis mindset is the mindset of value. The business analysis mindset is the mindset of possibility. This guy says, if you think you can or you cannot, both ways, you're right. And whatever it is that you believe is what the universe will respond to you to. And then the last one is mindset of collaboration. And, oh, sure. I was supposed to introduce myself, right? Yeah, sorry. Well, speaker, consultant, trainer, coach, college professor, worked in a couple of organizations, Deloitte, Accenture, Citibank, Bell, Sonnet. I do business transformation, project management, business analysis, change management. Experience cut across North America, Europe, and Africa. But hey, you can stay connected, or you can engage more with me on LinkedIn. It's Bola Adesope. Bola Adesope. Instagram is at Bola Adesope, and Twitter as Bola Adesope. Thank you, and I will. Have I spent up to 15 minutes? I'm not really sure. Tell me if I still have 1 more minute. That's all for my presentation.
Thank you very much, Bola. Thank you so much. Thank you.